A very good evening to all of our distinguished guests today, ladies and gentlemen. Association of National Exchanges Members of India has approximately 800 pan-India members. We at ANMI believe that a robust and efficient capital market can only be possible by promoting financial and investor education. Our knowledge series, weekly workshops, focuses on market-related topics whereby a large number of members benefit. Today is the 85th one. Today's topic is international trading opportunities at GIFT IFSC, the GIFT City. And what benefits can a member get in terms of taking the membership? A lot of questions are there which may get answered. SGX trading to debt instruments, to global access to entities operating through GIFT, LRS for retail, and so on and so forth. We have with us today distinguished panelists, Mr. Dipesh Shah, Executive Director Development, IFSCA, Mr. Praveen Kamat, DGM, Capital Markets Department, IFSCA, Ravi Varanasi, Group President and CBDO, NSC, Mr. V. Balaji, MD and CEO, India INX. I am Kamlesh Shroff, Director ANMI, and will be your moderator today. Let me now welcome our President, Mr. Kamlesh Shah, to give his welcome address.
Thank you, Kamlesh ji. On behalf of ANMI, I extend my warm welcome to Mr. Dipesh Shah, Executive Director Development IFSCA, Mr. Praveen Kamat, DGM Capital Market Development IFSCA, Mr. V. Balasubramaniam, MD and CEO INX, Mr. Ravi Varanasi, Group President and CBDO NSE IFSC Ltd, speakers of the day and members who have joined us today. Topic for today's discussion is International Trading Opportunity at GIFT City IFSC. Dear friends, GIFT City is the vision of our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. GIFT City is established in a planned and strategic manner with lot of commitments. Progress so far has been achieved in systematic way to achieve ultimate goal of making GIFT City a financial hub for Southeast Asia. The first trigger was achieved by setting up a world-class infrastructure with next-gen urban planning, followed by opening of two major exchanges, India INX and NSE IFSC. Then establishment of unified authority for regulating all the financial services in GIFT City through International Financial Services Center Authority to develop and regulate financial products, financial services and financial institutions located performed in the IFSC in India. The IFSCA functions as a unified regulator and is empowered to exercise the power of RBI, SEBI, IRDA and PFRDA, allowing global access to the broker so they can access directly in international market. Entities trading through GIFT City will immediately see value in terms of lowering cost, tax benefit and many more things for conducting their business through IFSC entity. This will bring down their cost to 1/10 in compared to the cost of setting up shops in foreign countries like Dubai and Singapore. Retail participants can now invest in global stocks under liberalized remittance scheme through GIFT City. This has opened door for retail investors to participate in development of product portfolio at GIFT City. I am very sure that with the entry of retail investors, now new opportunities and host of new products including structural products, debt instrument, etc. will be launched. It is a matter of introducing more and more products so that the GIFT City will become next big opportunity for Indian brokers. The opportunities for this is one place where there is an opportunity for all. There is an opportunity for retail broker, there is an opportunity for strategy based traders, there is an opportunity for AIF, FPI, FIIs, there is an opportunity for prop desk member arbitrageurs and It deals with multi-class assets. Next in line is setting up of the gold exchange. This will help us in achieving the dream of India becoming a price setter. Our Honorable Prime Minister will inaugurate IIBX, a unique gold exchange promoted by three exchanges, NSE, BSE and MCX, and two depositories, CDSL and NSDL. This is a unique feature only seen in GIFT City, where all the three major exchanges and two depositories have come forward with their expert knowledge to create international standard gold exchange. The partnership is not just limited to gold exchange, but they have now come together even to form a unified depository and a clearing corporation. The gold exchange will help to realize the dream of our Prime Minister that India becomes price setter for at least a few of the largest traded instruments in the world. The second big trigger is shifting of SGX Nifty from Singapore to GIFT City, which is likely to be operational by July 22 and will be completely shifted to GIFT City by November 2022. In addition to all, we have advantage of both domestic as well as international SEZ at GIFT City. Many benefits are there even for the domestic zone, like relaxation in stamp duty and availability of world-class infrastructure. Domestic zone may also be used as a back office support for the international trades done by units at international zone. This is an opportunity. We are going to present approximately 100 letters from the brokers, members, be it equity, commodity, currency or debt market from all over India to come join and explore opportunities available at GIFT City. We have with us panel of experts on the topic, and without taking much of your time, I would like to hand over the proceeding to our mentor and director, Mr. Kamlesh Shroff. Thank you so much for joining this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kamlesh Shahji. I think you have set the tone. Modi ji's vision is one aspect, but amount of numerable benefits that members would probably, entail or get by being a member of the GIFT City would be quite far tremendous. Right from from pro to FII to retail, and all three exchanges plus two DPs are participating for the gold exchange. I think it's great. Let's move forward. We are very fortunate to have all the experienced and elite persons who are on our panel of speakers today. Let me briefly introduce our panel this evening. Mr. Dipesh Shah, Executive Director Development, IFSCA. Dipesh ji has over 20 years of professional experience in international business, project development, corporate affairs, corporate law and policy matters. His most prominent achievement includes setting up and operationalizing India's first smart city and international financial services center, the IFSC. He brought in the regulatory and business changes in the GIFT IFSC to bring in banks, international exchanges, which was of course inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, and insurance and reinsurance companies for undertaking offshore transactions. As executive director, he now heads the development division at the IFSCA. Mr. Praveen Kamat, Deputy General Manager, Capital Market Development, IFSCA. Praveen ji is with the Capital Market Department of IFSCA and is part of the team that is overseeing the operationalization of International Boolean Exchange at the International Financial Services Center at GIFT City, Gujarat. He is also handling the fintech and cybersecurity policy and is responsible for rollout of IFSCA's twin sandbox framework, the regulatory sandbox and the innovation sandbox. Prior to joining IFSCA, Mr. Praveen was with the Securities and Exchange Board of India for 12 years. Mr. Ravi Varanasi ji, Chief Business Development Officer, NSE. Ravi ji is a business professional and has over 3 decades of experience in financial markets, banking, finance, and education. He is the President and Chief Business Development Officer at NSE. He spearheads initiatives in the areas of market structure policy across asset classes, fundraising platforms for corporates, SMEs, startups, and education. With NSE for over 25 years, Ravi ji has wide-ranging experience in business development, regulatory, and operational roles. We have Mr. V. Balasubramaniam, MD and CEO, India INX. Mr. V. Balasubramaniam, Bala, as his short name goes, is the founding MD and CEO of IFSCI, India INX, the first international exchange from India in
Someone is attending to you.
International Financial Services Center, Special Economic Zone, which started its operation from January 2017, and a subsidiary of BSE, Asia's first stock exchange. He also holds board positions in various companies and also member of committees of IFSCA. He has over 31 years of experience in capital markets industry. So all of them would have interacted or met most of the members here, because all of them have been in this business for almost about 20 or 2 decades to over 3 decades. But I thought a formal introduction to all of them would be of importance. So you can understand the board that we have today and the members that are also have joined in is going to be an excellent an educating process in terms of understanding what GIFT City has in store for us. With that, can I request Mr. Dipesh Shah, ED Development, IFSCA, to give his introductory address. Over to you, Mr. Dipesh ji.
Thank you, Kamlesh ji. And at the outset, we are really thankful to the ANMI team. I think led by the Kamlesh Shah, we've seen a lot of proactive steps being taken in last few weeks. By the time that he took over the charge and we had a first meeting, we are seeing series of steps being taken by the ANMI team to ensure that the members get the right information to participate in the upcoming opportunities in the IFFC. As very rightly said, I think the International Financial Services Center is at the right stage now in terms of the way that it can become a game changer for India. And I'm sure out of all the market participants, the participants that we are having on this webinar today, they are the one who understand the pulse of the market more than anybody else. And if one has to really examine from the perspective as to what is the growth potential of an international financial services center, I'm sure the community which is present today is the one whose participation will decide how the future of a capital market will be driven from here on. We have seen in the initial stages when most of the financial centers that we examine and interacted with, it always took a lot of time to set up an international exchange and the broking system in those financial centers. But here in the IFFC, we saw that the first one where the international exchanges came in. And I'm glad both India INX and NSE IFFC, which are also on the call today, they took that real initiative to get the capital market ecosystem going in the international financial center at a very early stage. And because of that, today we are seeing that the platform has become such an enabler in terms of the new products coming in terms of the new connects getting established, and the type of the platform now the IFFC is able to provide to trade in the global market from IFFC. Let me just take a few seconds, a few minutes, just to quickly give you where we stand in terms of an IFFC and what is the roadmap ahead. In terms of an international financial services center, as was just said, we took as an unified regulator the zone on 1st October 2020, which is merely 16 to 18 months now that the zone is under a unified regulator. Before the IFFC authority, we had licensed 129 units in the IFFC in the GIFT City. And post the IFFC authority took over, now the IFFC entities have grown more than 310. which means more than 180 licenses were issued by the IFSC authority in less than 18 months after it took over the charge. We saw tremendous growth opportunities when the regulatory frameworks were being addressed in terms of the issues of the past and the new enablers which were brought in order to ensure that the practices of the IFSC is in line with the global best practices. And the first chairman of the IFSC authority, Inject Srinivas, I think under whose leadership the entire ecosystem got enabled in no time. We were discussing with our fellow regulators in the overseas markets, and they told us that in the initial stages when they were set up, it took 5 years just to set up the authority, have the framework, have the systems running. And here in no time, in 18 months, we are seeing the systems are running, the regulations are in place, the markets are expanding, and you are seeing a lot of business interest emerging in the zone. We have crossed a limit of close to 60 broking firm. My colleague Praveen is on the call on the webinar, and he is leading the efforts on the capital market side. I'm sure he will add on in terms of how the most capital market business got enabled here. In terms of the enablement from the income from the international exchange perspective, I think both the exchanges, full credit to them. I think they've been trying to push very hard in terms of the products and the platforms, and both of them would be able to give a detailed idea about the opportunities emerging here. From our side, from a regulatory perspective, we are seeing growth from all segments. So banking, which were nearly close to 22 banks now in the IFSC zone, includes 7 to 8 foreign banks now. And you have an ecosystem of all Indian and foreign banks available. You have funds which are close to 31, 32 now, and we are seeing tremendous interest in this financial year. Close to additional 50 more funds would be set up, apart from 30, 32 that we are already licensed. Committed funds which we already got from the AIF, which were licensed, is close to $7 billion now. And you can imagine, we were only talking of these funds coming from Singapore to invest into India, coming from Mauritius to invest into India. And now everybody is talking that if I have a platform in GIFT City, which is an offshore, from a RBI FEMA perspective, you are an outside India, so you don't, domestic law of FEMA does not apply the way that you operate in India. And from that perspective, we are seeing tremendous interest from the fund industry to participate, and more participation into Indian equity would be happening through the AIFs being set up in the IFSC versus one which are set up in Mauritius or Singapore or other financial centers outside. We are seeing also good interest in terms of the businesses of aircraft leasing, fintech, Boolean Exchange, as was mentioned. We were just about to get the exchange being inaugurated, and we are seeing a lot of interest from qualified dwellers and the Boolean community to participate in this exciting new opportunity. We at the IFSC authority believe that we already are close to 300 firms now, and in this financial year alone, we have internally set a target for ourselves of looking forward to additional 400 more firms to come in the IFSC zone. And when we are talking of 400 more firms to come in, I'm talking of the most large participation coming from the community which we are addressing today, because they are the one which create larger numbers, and they are the one which creates the business enabled to its fullest. We believe that close to 60 to 70 more broking firms will step in this financial year. In fact, we were offline with Kamlesh and ANMI team, and we were told that this new enablement of participating in the global stock in the NSE SGX Connect, allowing to trade directly into the overseas market, sitting here a broking firm, this all is showing a lot of interest from the community, and we are told that a large number of ANMI brokers are showing interest, letter of intent to ANMI to participate in GIFT City in the IFSC zone. And we as a regulator would be very happy to facilitate this larger interest coming to these new opportunities. I'm thankful that this platform has been provided to all, to the regulators, to the participating institutions, and we are able to talk to the broking community, to the investment community one-to-one, which also is one of the USP of the unified regulator, that we are able to talk to the industry, we are able to understand their issues. And I think the larger team at the IFSC authority has always been trying to figure out how do we solve your problems and make you enable your more businesses to be done from IFSC, rather than you need to open your firms in Dubai, Singapore, or other financial centers. With this, I'm again thank you to the all the organizers and providing the IFSC authority this platform, and also looking forward to a larger participation when in the coming few days from now, when a larger, higher event is being planned. We would look forward to your participation in large number, and eventually you getting maximum business opportunities from this zone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dipesh ji. I think you gave an excellent perspective of the business opportunity which members can capitalize on. And of course, what we like to hear as ANMI team is you even complimented ANMI and the President Kamlesh Shah for putting in all the efforts for ensuring that this will go through. We are on the job to ensure that maximum education and handholding is done to all our members, so maximum members are able to benefit from these new products, with the exchange and the regulator being so cooperative, and of course Modi ji's vision, as we rightly said. We would love to see that as many members can given that LOA, it would be such a great opportunity. We have a couple of small slides that we are going to have from the exchanges and the regulator. So, and post that we will have the question answers. So with that, let me get Mr. Praveen Kamat into this discussion. And if you have a couple of slides which would kind of open up ideas and give some more clarity to the members who are watching. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shroff, and many thanks, Dipesh ji, for the wonderful introduction. Are the slides visible?
Yes, they are.
Okay. I'll give you a brief introduction. The Dipesh ji has already covered most of the part. See, when the International Financial Services Center was operational, initially RBI, SEBI, and IRDA guidelines were applicable to the IFSC. Subsequently, after the IFSCA Act was notified by Parliament, and IFSCA was established in April 2020, what happened was that we started setting up, our chairman Injiti Srinivas started setting up his own team. So people from RBI, SEBI, and IRDA were called upon on deputation, and a team was being put in place. Now, I came on deputation to IFSCA in September 2020. And in October 1st, 2020, we became the sole regulator for the IFSC. Sole, the unified regulator for both the capital market and the banking, as well as the insurance verticals. Now, when we came to IFSCA, our major challenge in the capital market was this. The brokers were not coming to IFSC because there were not enough products on the exchange. The investor was not coming on in an IFSC because there were no brokers and there were no products. The custodian was not coming because there were no investors, and so on. So this was a sort of a chicken and egg situation. So our first goal and priority was to solve this chicken and egg situation. So what we did, we started focusing on the most important intermediary in IFSCA and in the capital markets in general, which is your stockbroker and a clearing member. So we went about having very extensive consultations with the industry and different market participants. And we started issuing enabling circulars for brokers, stockbrokers, both within India and overseas, to come through the branch mode. Subsequently, we sorted out the custodian framework. Then the market infrastructure institution regulations were issued. The capital market intermediaries regulations were issued, and so on. One of the major handicaps back in September 2020 was that we did not have a functional depository in IFSC. So we got about getting a depository in IFSC, and in March 2021, depository was set up in IFSC and it was fully functional. So with all the elements of the capital market ecosystem in place, then we decided to tackle this issue of products, investor, and liquidity on the stock exchanges in IFSC. So coming to the basic structure of the capital markets, you have stock exchanges, clearing corporation and depositories, which are also known as market infrastructure institutions. These form the backbone of the capital markets in IFSC. So we have two stock exchanges right now, India INX and NSE IFSC, both very professionally run, adequately staffed, and having adequate infrastructure. We have two clearing corporations, India ICC and NICCL, who do the clearing and settlement of trades on the respective exchanges. And we have one depository in IFSC, which is the India International Depository IFSC Ltd. Among capital market intermediaries, you have broker dealers, who are also known as trading members. You have clearing members, you have depository participants, we have custodians, investment bankers, debenture trustees, and so on. And under fund management, you have AIFs, portfolio managers, investment advisors, and ancillary service providers, and so on. Now, coming to the products which are being traded on the stock exchanges, you are mainly derivative products, which are equity derivatives, index derivatives, currency derivatives, and commodity derivatives, both futures and options that are being traded. With respect to index, you have Nifty and Bank Nifty derivatives which are trading on NSE IFSC, and you have BSE Sensex 50 derivatives which are trading on India INX, and so on. There is sufficient liquidity in both these products. There are a lot of bonds that are listed on the stock exchanges. You have green bonds, you have masala bonds, especially of Asian Development Bank and NTPC. Subsequently, you have other corporate bonds as well, which are listed on the stock exchange. There are depository receipts as well. You have ADRs of Dr. Reddy's, which are listed on NSE IFSC, and depository receipts on American stocks, which are listed and are trading on NSE IFSC. In addition to this, these products, you have two special projects. One is the India INX Global Access. This is a facility in which entities sitting in IFSC can trade in products overseas. I will not cover this in much detail, as I will leave it to Mr. Bala to cover it in his slides. And the next thing is the NSE IFSC SGX Connect. As you may all know, through this Connect, the SGX derivative volume is going to shift slowly into NSE IFSC. All the trading is going to, in SGX Nifty futures, is going to move from SGX to NSE IFSC in a phased manner. Now, we have planned operationalization of this Connect in two phases. The first phase is the negotiated last trades in the derivatives, which is going on. It went operational in late May 2022. And the next phase is the full-blown retail trading, retail and institutional trading in SGX derivatives, which is going to be operational next month. Mr. Ravi Varanasi from NSE IFSC will be covering these aspects in detail in his presentation. Now, as a regulator, it is imperative to us that a lot of brokers come and register themselves on the stock exchanges and facilitate the onboarding of new foreign investors. Towards this, we are ensuring that the onboarding process is very smooth and very fast and has minimal compliance burden. I can give an example in the sense that my team is so well trained that we approve the registration applications within 24 hours. This is our track record, of course, subject to submission of all necessary paperwork. But our track record is that within 24 hours, we have accorded all registration approvals. So the entity can start his business, commence his business as soon as possible, subject to our after our regulatory approvals. In addition to that, I also wish to state that both the exchanges have very, very professional and dynamic membership onboarding departments. Both the exchanges function across 22 hours in a day. The membership departments are available throughout the day, and they're very quick, they're very dynamic, and they're very professional. So the onboarding process is very, very seamless. And any broker who has any queries can easily approach the membership departments of both the exchanges and get clarity on how he can be onboarded and how he can commence operations on both the exchanges. So the entry and exit of brokers is very, very seamless, very well laid out. And at the regulator, we are doing everything in our power to ensure that the onboarding is very seamless and the cost of compliance is minimal. So this is the presentation that I have. I'll take the question and answer sessions in the Q&A session later on. So thank you.
Thanks, Praveen ji. I think you detailed practically, what exactly has happened from 2015 right now up to today, and even all the products that are on table from both the exchanges that have been part, and of course the seamless onboarding process. And 24 hours is something I haven't heard. I think India would probably be the first one in terms of onboarding someone in 24 hours and start the business. So that's, I think, kudos. It's like cheers to the management, the regulation, and both the exchanges that they have, fully gone full throttle to that. Let us also now hear from Ravi Varanasi ji, and let us see, as he mentioned that there are SGX can be traded by the members, and a lot of other products are coming up. So let us understand, as Ravi ji will decode opportunities for members. Over to you, Ravi ji.
Thanks, Kamlesh. Good evening, everybody. It's great to have to be among all our members, particularly Mr. Kamlesh Shah as the chairman of ANMI. Within taking over of ANMI chairmanship, he has been very, very active, and he has been ensuring that all the membership comes on board as fast as possible, both in GIFT as well as onshore. His dynamic leadership, I'm sure, will help ANMI to achieve greater heights. Mr. Dipesh and Mr. Kamat have already talked about the facilitations and the products available. In fact, Mr. Praveen has actually gone into a fair amount of detail in terms of the structure there and the product availability. He made my life a lot simpler, as he always does, both in terms of ensuring that the regulatory structure is very, very simple. And as he correctly said, onboarding process is absolutely perfect there. So in fact, Mr. Dipesh and Mr. Kamat, they actually go out of the way to ensure that whatever is required by the intermediaries, by the MIS, by the banks, any financial intermediary, they're able to actually come up and then ensure that whatever is required to be done, they actually go out of, in fact, the chairman, Mr. Injiti Srinivas, has been exceedingly cooperative, and he actually takes interest in almost everything which can be done in the GIFT City. And he has been the advocate for all of us in a way, with the government, with the other regulators, to ensure that whatever is required to be done is made available in GIFT City. So that's a fantastic ecosystem has been built by IFSCA from the time they came into existence in late 2020. Just about a year and a half, they have literally transformed the GIFT City from a fairly place where not much was happening to a absolutely vibrant kind of a scenario there. All kinds of products are starting, and there is huge amount of excitement which is getting built. As you're already aware, most of the brokerages, I mean, we have close to about 70 brokerages registered with us. About 40 brokerages are already trading. As Praveen has mentioned, we have equity derivatives products are already available. Equity derivatives, we have fixed income, we have currency and commodities. We are just seeing a reasonable amount of activity happening, particularly in index products. We have a co-location facility available, fully equipped co-location facility, and we actually are subsidizing our members. If they're coming on board, we're able to get them on board into co-location without too much of a difficulty. As Praveen has mentioned, the trading hours are longer, much longer than onshore. There are obviously tax benefits. I don't have to talk about the tax benefits. All of you are aware. And possibly we would have made this presentation between Bala and us. We would have made this presentation hundreds of times. So most of you are aware of the facilitations which are available in GIFT City. It's a question of now, I mean, some of the areas, particularly as both of them have mentioned earlier, the important area which is of immediate importance is the SGX Connect. We have been talking about SGX Connect almost for the last couple of years, more than 2 years, 3 years. We have been working on this. There is significant amount of activity which happens in SGX Nifty in Singapore. We have set up a fairly unique structure. This is the first time in the world this kind of structure has been set up, where SGX brokerages and their clients can access bring their entire order flow into GIFT City in a seamless manner without really disturbing their internal arrangements. The software has already been put in place. As Praveen ji mentioned, we have already launched the negotiated large trade transactions towards the end of May this year. We have already seen close to about $30 billion worth of trading happening in those trades. And we are on the verge of launching the second phase in the next by mid-July, and we will transition the entire liquidity over a period, because some of the members again there are at various stages of preparation. We believe that they will come on board from July onwards. In the next 2 to 3 months period, we will try and shift the entire liquidity. That's a huge amount of liquidity, as large as liquidity onshore. So that gives our brokerages in GIFT City to actually interact with that liquidity and build a significantly large liquidity pool in dollar terms for Nifty. Once we're able to, so far SGX has been essentially focused on SGX futures, but as you are aware, our options markets are much vibrant compared to futures onshore. And I'm sure all our expertise, all of you are experts in options, and I'm sure once you have a futures liquidity in GIFT City, I'm sure all of you will be able to use that to build your own strategies and build options liquidity as we go forward. So we're very excited both in terms of index. So starting with index, particularly Nifty futures. As you're aware, we have other products like Bank Nifty, other index products are also available there. Single stock derivatives are available. So it's a question of, once we have the basic liquidity pool available through SGX Connect, we think all of you will use it and possibly build on that. As you are aware, right now we are not charging for transactions in GIFT City. It's kind of no transactions. We are actually paying. The LES scheme which is running in some of the products. We believe with the onboarding of SGX members, we expect, as I said, in next 3 to 4 months period, we expect all the SGX members to be operational in GIFT. So once that happens, slowly we will try and reduce some of these zero transaction charges and stuff like that. But this is the time for our own members to quickly move on there and try and build your own capabilities. Obviously, dollar-based trading is slightly different from what is happening onshore, and it's important for all of you to come in now so that you are able to build your internal capabilities. The co-location is available. Whosoever wants to come into the co-location can quickly come in there. We'll be more than happy to facilitate your move into GIFT City. In fact, I understand some of the members have set up international trading desks in various centers like Dubai, Singapore, New York, London. As Mr. Deepesh has mentioned, and as Mr. Praveen also has mentioned, GIFT City is much cheaper destination. You don't have to spend your money on some of these foreign locations. You bring those trading desks into India and into GIFT City. You not only get a location where there's a huge amount of cost advantage, you have fantastic tax benefits, which again are available to all of you. We can get into those details, but details are available to all of you in any case. So my suggestion is, if you can quickly look at this, one, taking a membership there and trying to shift your own international desks into GIFT City. Whatever support which is required will be provided by both the exchanges as well as the regulator. We are more than happy to work with all of you to ensure that we are facilitating your transition from India to GIFT City in terms of your setting up your own entities there. But more importantly, your international trading desks to come into GIFT City, that is far more important. So we'll be happy to help you in that area. We have also been listing between INX and us. We have been listing large number of, as both Dipesh and Praveen mentioned, large number of bonds, green bonds, sustainable bonds are being listed in GIFT City. The numbers are pretty large already. Almost all major PSUs are already present there. The more importantly, as we go forward, we are looking at innovative products which will make, because usually these products are just listings. The bond issuance happens, it just gets listed, hardly any trading happens. But we are looking at opportunity, product tweaks which will allow our members to trade these products also fairly efficiently. So we are looking at various options, and I'm sure we'll be able to do a significant amount of innovation on that side. That's as far as some of the basic products are concerned. As was mentioned, we have a fairly innovative product which we have launched, I'll possibly run through a brief presentation on our global our global DR program, which Mr. Dipesh as well as Mr. Praveen have mentioned. This is the product which we have launched. It's about a couple of months. It's in the innovation sandbox. And we believe it kind of opens up a significant opportunity for retail-based brokers. So far, the problem in GIFT City has been that only the large pro brokerages, institutional brokerages were able to come there. There was nothing which appeals to the retail brokerages. So this product actually changes the game for retail brokerages. We believe this is a significant amount of an opportunity for retail-based members to come there. As you all are aware, the LRS allows each of Indian investors to invest up to $250,000 in international markets, international assets. So far, there are various methodologies which are available. There are mutual funds which have come out with international funds. Investors have been investing in those funds. And there are brokerages, both local brokerages as well as international brokerages, and tying up with a lot of fintechs. Platforms are available for Indian investors to invest in international stocks directly. There are obviously a bit of issues in some of these things. That's where we actually thought we should come out with a product which actually reduces the regulatory issues as well as transaction charges. That's where we tried to come out with a fairly interesting product, which we call a DR program. The biggest advantage, obviously, is so we have started with about 50 US stocks at this stage, but this can easily be extended to any number of stocks, both in US and other as well as other jurisdictions. The beauty of this product is essentially this is a regulated environment which we try to create for this particular product. Normally, what happens is under an LRS scheme, if you're going through an international brokerage, the trading in international exchanges happens in regular quantities. That is, minimum one share transactions happen. The trading fractionalization happens at the broker end. Entire fractionalization holding is with the broker. And international brokers, most of these brokerages are very large, very well capitalized, and stuff like that. As long as things are working fine, there's absolutely no problem. But if something goes wrong, there are multiple issues which might actually come up. So that's where we thought we should try and create a product which helps our Indian investors to actually invest in, have an access to international exposure in a very controlled environment, in a regulated environment where entire transactions happen on an exchange platform and is controlled by our own entities, both our depository as well as custodians. And there's regular transactions, almost like regular transaction, the settlement guarantee fund. We also try to ensure that there is fair amount of liquidity available through a market maker kind of a program, where a large international HFT is providing the market making facility, so that any investor who either wants to buy or sell DRs is able to easily access the liquidity. So the basic issue is internationally, if you really see the large stocks like Apple and Tesla or Google, they're exceedingly expensive. What we are trying to do this through this program is, first, these stocks are acquired by an international market maker. They are with the US custodian, and then they're against those shares which are deposited with the US custodian in the name of our custodian, which is HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank receives those shares in their account in international market. Against that, they will issue depository receipts, and those depository receipts trade on NSE IFSC. The depository receipts are held in the name of the investor in the depository in the GIFT City. There's a single depository in GIFT City. I mean, all the entities which have set up the International Boolean Exchange have come together to set up the depository also. So we have a single depository, securities depository, as well as it also handles the Boolean side. So investors can open a depository account with that particular depository, and they are able to see their holding in their own name in the depository. There's no broking entity which is holding these shares in broking's name and then giving an omnibus statement of account to our investors. So again, during this process of conversion from US stocks to depository receipts, we are also handling the fractionalization. Instead of allowing the fractionalization to happen at the broken entity end, we have actually ensured that the fractionalization happens within our system. So for every single share of a share which is deposited in the account of HDFC Bank in international market, international location, a fractional number of DRs are created. For example, $1,000 worth of a share is available, is purchased by an entity, or the market maker gives one share of $1,000 share to the HDFC Bank there. Against that, HDFC Bank creates say 100 DRs. So each DR will be just about $10. So they're actually ensuring that the whole idea is to try and get the DRs value, individual DRs value to in the range of about $10 to $15. So idea is to try and ensure that we don't really keep these DRs expensive, so that retail investors who want to have a fairly diversified portfolio, instead of just buying one or two shares of say an Apple or a Google or a Alphabet or a Tesla, they can buy a set of stocks, DRs, which are easily available at $10, $15. So idea is to try and ensure that we bring these large, high value international shares in the reach of our retail investors in a controlled, regulated environment. So that's the basic idea behind creating the DR program. And as I said, there are about 50 securities which are already available, US securities at this stage. This is just a screen comparison of US underlying, the kind of depth which is available, the price at which they're trading there, and corresponding screen of NSE IFSC, where the market maker is providing bid-ask spread, fairly tight bid-ask spread, so that investors can either acquire or sell the DRs back. And every single DR is backed by shares which are held in international market by the custodian. So to that extent, everything is taken care of. All non-monetary corporate benefits are passed on, like dividends and all. We pass on directly to the investors. Right now, the rest of the detailing in terms of margins and all are on par with what we normally do in cash market out here. It's instead of a T+2 settlement or T+1 settlement as we do here, there's a T+3 settlement, because US stocks, US markets trade T+2 right now. The market maker, supposing market maker is actually starting the entire process with their own inventory. They have deposited a number of stocks against which DRs have been created. But if the market maker has to acquire additional shares, they will go to US markets and acquire those shares, and corresponding the DRs are created and credited to the investors who are purchasing those specific DRs. As I said, corporate actions are taken care of. There is a complete transparency, a detailed framework has been created around that, and there are any shortages, they are financially closed. Again, the tax part, again, I don't want to get into too much of a detail. Most of you are aware of the tax aspects of the investments into international markets. Any specific clarifications or any other issues which are required are available. The detailed presentation which is available on the entire DR program, entire details are available on our website also. And any of you want any further details in terms of how exactly you want to come on board, feel free to reach out to our business development team. They are actually trying to chase you all. So we are more than happy to come on, work with you to try and ensure that we are wherever support is required from our side, we will try and ensure that we will hold hands and try and convert you all into the exchange platform as fast as possible. The basic client onboarding process, the KYC and other stuff. There is an additional requirement essentially of there's a FATCA requirement of a specific 88 declaration which has to come, that has to be taken. All these process details are available. I don't want to get into too much of process details. And the benefit, obviously, as I mentioned, it is a significantly a regulated environment through which we are allowing the trading to happen, and the custody is with HDFC Bank, and everything, the contract notes are issued by your brokerage. You actually can see your holding in the each investor can see their own holding in the depository account which they're opening in the GIFT City. So there is fair amount of transparency, and it is almost like trading shares onshore. There's absolutely very little difference. So we try to ensure that the model is very, very close to what we normally investors are used to in onshore markets. So this is a simple, straightforward process. I kind of urge all of you to look into this, and if there are any specific suggestions, requirements, we are more than happy to kind of work with you. And as I said, we are looking at series of other innovative products. Come on board, and we all are waiting for you to come on board. The regulator, exchanges, we are more than happy to roll a red carpet for you and support you through the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ravi ji. I think we are all set to join in for sure. The way you have detailed the whole thing, there's so many opportunities, right from, as you rightly said, buying fraction of Tesla to Alphabet to, you know, whatever Apple that you like. And also, as you said, members are fully aware that there is no cost at the moment. There is no transactional costs, and there is a full benefit in terms of taxation, and which is something that, and of course, as SGX Nifty also kicks off, options also will be fairly liquid, which will also give an opportunity for members looking from the indices. So thanks so much for detailing all that products that we have in our market and the way forward. With that, let me come to Mr. V. Balasubramaniam, and let us understand from him what are the other opportunities available at the INX GIFT City. I think it was the first exchange which moved into the GIFT City. So over to you, Balaji. Let us know what is in store for the broking community and the brokers.
Thanks, Kamlesh. Thank you, Kamlesh Bhai and ANMI, for hosting this webinar. I think I'm going to be the last speaker between all of you and the weekend. So I will try to keep it as short as possible, and probably I think all my previous speakers have actually covered quite a lot of ground in terms of what the IFSCA has done. So what I will do is, I've got some slides with me, but probably I will not run through all of them because many of those points have been done. But I will try to probably touch upon certain things which we are doing in a little different way, and which are probably which have not yet been covered so far. So the slides are visible to everyone?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Thank you. So basically, when we talk about India International Exchange, I think our aspiration is to be your best offshore gateway to both inbound investment as well as for outbound investment. That's basically what the exchange actually is going to look at delivering. That's basically the idea. And as you all recall, I think the Honorable Prime Minister actually kickstarted this idea. This whole idea of getting GIFT City to become the first international financial system or center was actually his dream project. And also, in some sense, this is something which has been consistent across most of the policymakers across the political spectrum in India. Because as we know, India is a pretty large marketplace. And India is also probably both the oldest and the first exchange in Asia, almost dating back to 140, 150 years. And that is the heritage which BSE represents, and BSE was the first one which also kickstarted the first exchange here in the IFSC. And typically, the Prime Minister actually set out very clear visions for us. Today, what were the things which are inhibiting us? So far, I think India was actually looking at everything from an inward perspective. So we have capital restrictions in place in our country, which primarily means that all capital which comes from international has to go through a kind of a validation process in terms of what is permitted. Although it has been liberalized over the last 15-20 years, from probably the mid-90s. And but the other side is also that now in the last 20-25 years, the young India, the affluent India has also now built up significant wealth, and they also want to look at probably owning global assets, do global diversification. So there is a need for outbound investment as well. So effectively, the IFSC is basically to channelize how India, instead of being just an inward-looking market, can now become probably a global price setter, and we start looking at ourselves as an international marketplace rather than just being restricted to the country. And here the PM gave very clear goals to us as an exchange and also to all of us in the community. I think many of you were there when the inauguration took place. And he said that in 10 years, he thinks that we should become price setters and not just price followers in terms of many commodities, currencies, equities, and interest rate products. And the second thing he said is that we should also become a very large fundraising destination. So there is a secondary market objective, and there's also a primary market objective that we should become pretty large contributors in terms of funds, in terms of raising enterprises, not only for companies in India as well as in Asia, Africa, and Europe. So these were broadly the two themes which he actually set out. And effectively, this encapsulates almost all the objectives of the capital market. And we think the IFSC idea itself is probably the biggest liberalization for the Indian capital markets in the making. Because we have seen already the benefits of liberalization over the last 20-25 years. Now the next step where we can actually make a global impact is going to be much, much bigger. And in the next 20-30 years, when our generation or probably the next generation looks at it, we can become a pretty large player. So with this background, probably I will just start as to what we do. Obviously, we started our journey in January 2017. At that time, there were easy ideas about what we could do and what we cannot do. But over the last 5 years, I think there has been a lot of shape which has taken place. And also many other entities which have come in, including the regulator, the IFSC authority which has come in, has also kind of now created an institutional mindset and created an institutional space for the International Financial Service Center. So typically, what we do here is we are probably the only exchange within the IFSC which trade 22 hours. So when we say 22 hours, we start from 4:30 a.m. India time morning, which is actually when Japan opens in the Far East. And we close at the next day morning at 2:30, which is basically not a calendar day, but a business day. So when we close at 2:30 a.m. the next day morning, it's actually the closing time in US. So what we are basically giving a strong signal and creating a world-class technology platform is basically saying that any investor at any time zone in any part of the world can come and access our market, and that is clearly giving shape. And this is something which our technology prowess is able to show. In terms of our platform, obviously, being a market infrastructure institution, I think we have created one of the best technology platforms, a world-class technology platform. We match trade at the speed of 4 microseconds. We have a state-of-the-art co-location center with almost all kind of network providers available. We have our own data center, which is a Tier 4 data center. And I think many members already have started using our colo center, and these are at par with probably the best exchanges in the world, in the likes of CME, the NASDAQ, and the New York, and so on and so forth. And we also have a kind of a disaster recovery backup site, which is available in Hyderabad. So effectively, we trade on 22 hours basis, and this platform has been working flawlessly and seamlessly over the last 5 years without any incidents per se. Now, the second novelty which we bring, which is probably a little different for the Indian capital market, is that the exchange ecosystem which has been envisaged here by the regulators is not a one where we are looking at silo markets. We are looking at all the asset classes, whether it is equities or currencies or interest rate or commodities, everything to be available in a single platform, a single exchange, a single segment. So effectively, if anybody wants to trade across any of these asset classes, they can get benefits of cross margining, and they can all get a single membership by which they can trade on all these things, whether it is the derivatives or even the underlying stocks in that. So basically, we have created a kind of a universal exchange platform. So that is something, again, which is very innovative. And in some sense, I think a lot of credit should go to our regulators, because they are the ones who are now virtually modeling us into a frontline kind of a regulated market and a frontline progressive market at par with the best developed nations in the world. In terms of our ecosystem, we have two setups, the India International Exchange and the India International Clearing Corporation. The exchange obviously is where the trading happens and all the trading members join the exchange. And the clearing corporation is our CCP, or the central counterparty. And it's a qualified central counterparty, which is recognized both by earlier by SEBI and now by IFSCA as a QCCP. And we also have got some third-party certifications, both from ESMA, which is the European Securities Market, as well as Bank of England. So effectively, it's internationally recognized, and basically all players across the spectrum can trust these particular markets. In terms of information services, now our quotes are widely available. It's available on the Bloomberg stations. It's available in most of the international platforms. So effectively, the quotes are all freely available for everyone to kind of use. Now, in terms of what we have achieved, one is on the derivatives market, we have achieved a significant kind of volumes, and we are now almost traded close to about 5.8 trillion, and almost our peak trading was about $30.3 billion of notional trading. And this is basically cutting across index products, currencies, as well as in terms of commodities. And the biggest advantage here is that we are basically trading all our products in US dollars. And since it's US dollars, once you come out and come to the global market, you will actually trade with every participant across the world with no currency risks effectively, and dollar becomes the home currency for everyone. And there is a wide choice of collaterals which are available, right from foreign securities to bank guarantees to FDs to cash to GSECs, everything is available. And all these are can be used as a collateral across the board. And significantly, the position limits which you can trade on our markets are much higher than what is there on the Indian market. So basically, the vision and the scale is also much larger, and the regulators clearly do support that. And in terms of the way the operationalization happens, we have two settlements which happen, so that minimizes the risk. And there are two mark-to-markets which happen, which is actually happening during banking India awake hours. So one happens in the evening before the bank closes, and one happens right in the morning when the banks actually open in some sense. And this is broadly we bring in as a value proposition. This gives you roughly an idea in terms of the turnover. As you see that we are right now the leading exchange, which probably close to about 95% market share. This is the kind of turnover within the IFSC. And in terms of the competition, we trade India 50, which is based on the BSE Sensex 50. And there also our volumes today are much larger than what is there on Singapore, though many people in India are still not aware of it. But I think if any one of them wants to come on our platform, all of a sudden they will start seeing that all executions are available all throughout the day. In addition to index, we also are trading in gold. In fact, gold is something which is pretty dear to India, and we actually benchmark ourselves in competition with the Dubai Gold Commodity Exchange, which is the regional market. Again, there we have achieved significant liquidity compared to that. And I think with the onset of the Boolean Exchange, which is going to kickstart very soon in a full fashion, I think a lot of the hedging needs in terms of derivatives can all happen on our platform here. On the currency, on the rupee dollar, again, we are the leading platform here. Here also we are got roughly about 70% and I think this is just the beginning, and as and when more and more participants and more international participants come, all the NDF and all the rupee based dollar trading, all of that will slowly start shifting towards the exchange platforms out here. So effectively these three products are pretty liquid, and there is immediately an opportunity for all the brokers out here. In terms of the fundraising platform, we have created a global securities market platform Today, primarily bond products are, or the bond offerings are coming on that. But very shortly, I think we'll also start seeing equity raisings happening here. I think IFSCA has already issued the regulations, but I think there are few notifications which are expected from the government, which will also even allow Indian companies and unlisted companies also to come and probably come into our platform going forward. And even in the global platform, I think Ravi also mentioned, but typically we are the larger platform. Till date, we have enabled close to about $69 to $70 billion of fundraising for Indian entities from this particular jurisdiction. And this is something which is very important, because almost all the infrastructure growth which you are seeing in India today is all coming from us, the largest companies, whether it be the Reliance Group, the Adani Group, even the private sector to the biggest public sector, and including the largest banks. Everybody is kind of started raising money through our platforms. And effectively what we have done is we have actually achieved partially the objective of the IFSC, which is basically onshoring the offshore. So earlier, these entities used to go to Singapore and London and New York to raise this money. Now they can virtually come to GIFT City and do that. And also now the new thing which is happening is that the sustainable bonds or the sustainable finance market is becoming a big thing. As you all know, the Prime Minister last year made a statement that by 2050 and 2070, India will become carbon net zero, and 2070 will become totally green in terms of carbon emissions. So in that sense, sustainable finance is another big area. And I think we have the global green GSM platform. And there again, what we have done a very innovative thing is we have done a collaboration with the Luxembourg Green Exchange, which is the largest green exchange in the world. And we have allowed Indian issuers to automatically dual list. By listing on us, they will also be able to list on the Luxembourg platform. This enables them to raise money from globally green investors, including from Europe and US, which again is something which is good for our country in terms of the fundraising which actually comes in. So this is just to give you some statistics in terms of how we stack up within the IFSC. And lastly, I will come to the outbound team. I think Dipesh and Mr. Praveen Kamat, both of them alluded to the outbound access through the India INX Global Access. This is actually a special purpose platform, a regulated platform, which we have set up as a full-fledged subsidiary. We got this permission under SEBI, and now IFSCA has also further given us approvals on that and also given us certain more kind of products under that. So under the global access, what we have created is, we have created a platform. We have created a platform that any broker who comes to the IFSC, instead of going and individually making his own arrangements to go and trade on different exchanges in the world, the leading international markets in the world, they can just come to INX GA, and we have created automatically a kind of a gateway with multiple markets. And effectively, as a one single platform, we are able to bring the whole world to them. Today, almost 80% of the global derivatives flow is available through the India INX GA platform. And already many members are using this particular facility. And this is a very low cost kind of a platform, which actually makes many people who want to look at exploring how to trade on the international markets also easily access our platform. And this is something which is fully functional, fully working, and available to all our member brokers here. And those who are looking at not only trading in India, but also trading in international markets, automatically by coming to India INX through our GA platform can get access to all the markets. And now, I think last year, RBI also allowed Indian residents the liberalized remittance scheme to be allowed, which means basically Indian individual investors can invest up to $250,000 per year per person. So if you're a family of 4, you can do $1 million. Now this has started, this was permitted by RBI last year. And subsequent to that, we took IFSCA approval. And since this January in 22, we are now connected with global API providers. And through a fully regulated platform, now we are offering 135 stock exchange platforms in the world on our exchange, on our global access platform. This is a total digital platform, like any fintech platform. Anybody can just come to our website, immediately do their own KYC, do their remittance through their bank, And we have created a beautiful system with multiple banks in India, where we have actually got better access rates, where actually people can simply shift money, just like today, how you get internet trading access in India by going to any of the brokers to access the national markets. Same way, we given you one single platform through which 135 exchanges can be done. And these we are basically not talking about creating any induced liquidity or an artificial liquidity. We are basically doing an order routing into all those exchanges. So effectively, you get matches at those liquidity. So if you want to trade on Tesla, we don't need a market maker or an HFT to make a liquidity on that. It just goes and matches in the respective market in New York or NASDAQ. If you want to trade in Lufthansa, it will go and trade in the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. You want to trade in Siemens, it will trade in the German exchange. If you want to trade in the British Airways, it will go into the London Stock Exchange. SoftBank, it will go to Japan Exchange, Korea. All the markets are available through this platform. And this is now successfully gone live. Over the last 4 to 5 months, we are seeing significant amount of activity. And also what we have done is, we have created a unique business partner arrangement by which even domestic brokers in India can actually become our partner of GA, and they can actually introduce their clients to come on the GA platform through the LRS route. And effectively, whatever are the commissions which they want to additionally charge for introducing their clients, they can charge on that. So effectively doing nothing, all the Indian brokers can use this platform straight away and enable LRS. And this has been done very, very seamlessly. And also what we have done is, we have made sure that if you're investing in the US market, our retail US investor gets the access the same way you will get the access. There is a fully fractionalized availability on this. People can even buy for $1 Apple stock or a Google stock or a Facebook stock. It is available, so people can try, test it out. And all corporate actions, everything is automatically accrued. We also added a bundled taxation service. So effectively, if somebody wants to even get the taxes, all that stuff to be done, everything is available. In addition to stocks, this platform also supports ETFs. So if you are wanting to invest in S&P 500 ETF, or you want to do a FTSE ETF or anything, all of these are also available. So there are close to about 40,000 mutual funds, 75 global portfolios, 23 currencies. Everything is tradable through this particular platform. And all retail individual investors, we ensure as global access, all anti-money laundering provisions are done, all KYC we take care, all the risk management, all the end-use restrictions which RBI has got in terms of LRS, in terms of non-leverage products, all of that are taken care by INX GA through this platform. So these are some of the things which India INX is already doing. And going forward, we'll also be looking at many more products and many more innovations. And I'm sure with the IFSCA's active support, and in fact, they are very, very kind of a progressive regulator with development as one of the biggest perspectives. I'm sure we'll launch many more interesting, innovative products. And the idea is to now make an Indian a truly global citizen and truly global investor. And that is something which we will be able to achieve through access through our particular platform. So these are some of the value propositions for the GA platform. I won't dwell much on that. Lastly, I will talk about the Boolean Exchange, which is something which is a very, very new, unique initiative. So far, we have seen only derivatives trading happening. There is the gold futures trading and the gold options trading. But you know that India imports gold, and we are probably one of the second largest consumer of gold. And the policymakers have always been struggling in terms of how to actually make a transparent market for bullion. And also, since India is the second largest consumer, how do we become price setters? So given that, now IFSC has taken the initiative in getting all of us MIIs, that is India INX, NSE, MCX, the NSDL and CDSL, the two depositories, all of 5 of us have come together, formed a consortium. And now we have created this Boolean Exchange, which is now fully ready. This technology is also something which is powered by our BSC Technologies platform, which supports India INX. The same platform is kind of available there. And here, through this platform now, all import of bullion is now voluntarily possible, and qualified jewelers RBI has come up with a framework that all qualified jewelers can use this. In fact, India is probably one of the largest exporters of gems and jewelry. And bullion is a very big source raw material for them. So effectively, this will be a great kind of a national booster. And this is something which is going to kickstart. And I'm sure IFSCA is also invited the Honorable Prime Minister, which is agreed to come and launch this exchange. I'm sure all of you members across ANMI, across the other broker associations, all of you will combine and use this opportunity. And this is something which is purely, as I said, the brainchild of IFSCA. And we have all been instrumental in making sure that whatever they wanted, we have just delivered that together as FI Exchange. Again, it's a big initiative because all the competing bodies in India have come together. As you say, we may be all from different states in India, but when we go abroad, we all are Indians. So keeping that logic in mind, we have set up this Boolean Exchange as a single entity out here. I'm sure all of you will look at using this particular opportunity. This is again going to be very large and pretty big in terms of game-changing opportunity. And I think this is something which I just wanted to quickly talk to you about. I'm sure we have our websites, indiainx.com. We have our GA website, which is called the indiainxga.com or the globalaccess.com, and iibx.com, which is the Boolean Exchange. I'm sure all of you can look up, and we'll be more and more happy to share more information. All our business development teams across the exchanges are there. We'll be happy to give you whatever guidance, whatever is required. And I think already onboarding process, the ease, the simplicity, 24-hour clearance, I think IFSCA has made it very clear this can all be done. I'm sure there is a red carpet waiting for all of you. And I think you should not waste any more time and start actually packing your bags and getting one leg of yours to become part of the global international financial service center. With that, I will stop here. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Balaji. I think I just loved the way you said it, and it's going to be truly global. Indians need to catch upon this opportunity, and members for sure. And there are a lot of things that, you know, some of our members may not be even aware, which you brought up, the type of volume that India 50 does, and even in the gold and the new products that you just mentioned. I am certain that this is, we are going to be the price setters at some point in time, not too far into the future. So with that, thanks so much, Balaji. With that, let me open up the floor for a few questions, of course, with the permission. And we will take a couple of questions that have come through. Let me start with a question that came in is in SGX. So maybe Ravi ji can answer this. In XGS, is options also a plan?
Options are already available in trading. There is a reasonable amount of liquidity already available, and there is again, as I said, there is an LEA scheme which is running. SGX, right now on SGX itself, options are not very active. Essentially their strength is futures. But my sense is some of the options players in Singapore who are not trading options so far will be able to actually pass on the liquidity out here. And I'm sure there is a significant potential for options, both index as well as single stock in GIFT City in dollar terms.
So the answer probably is positive in terms of options would be also part of the this thing. There's one more point that comes up in terms of the registration for an intermediary. What is the process? I think if Mr. Kamat could take that.
See, we have kept it the same process that is followed in India as well. A prospective broker trading member has to approach a membership division of the exchange. He is guided by the capital market intermediaries regulation. Initially the stockbroker regulation of SEBI was applicable, but since we notified our capital market intermediaries regulation in 2021, that regulation is applicable. That regulation lists all the terms and conditions, the fees and everything. And the application form is part of the regulation. And it's a very unique regulation in the sense that we have designed one common form for across most of the intermediaries. So it's one common application form. And you submit the application to the stock exchange, pay the necessary fees, and the exchange membership department will guide you. Subsequently, the exchange passes on after due diligence all the necessary papers. We vet it again, and we issue the registration certificate. So the certificate is issued within 24 hours, like I said, subject to submission of all paperwork, So that's how it is.
Yes, I was about to say that in any case, the process is 24 hours if all papers and documents are in place.
Right.
Truly efficient, I would say. Yeah. Another question that pops up is, what are the benefits of setting up operations in GIFT IFSC? So I don't know why this question comes up after listening to what all of you have said.
Yeah.
The question shouldn't have actually, popped up, because there are loads of benefits in terms of, starting off and taking the IFSC membership. But if my learned colleague want to add on.
Right. Both the exchanges have given in very much detail, covered in very much detail what are the benefits. There is one benefit which I as a regulator would like to cover. See, our depository, the India International Depository IFSC Limited, is going to establish connects with the global ICSDs, the International Central Securities Depositories like Euroclear, Clearstream, and DTCC. So once the connect is established, within the next 3 to 4 months, it's going to be established. By September 2022, end of September 2022, you'll go to see a connect operational. A cross-border transfer of securities from across different exchanges and from within IFSC will be a reality. If you see the entire European Union, Euroclear connects in Clearstream connect all the jurisdictions. So the securities can move from one jurisdiction to another. The same thing will be a reality in IFSC as well. So if any security that is listed and traded on the stock exchanges in IFSC, a foreign investor can buy it on the stock exchange and he can move it across jurisdictions, as collateral or within the Euroclear or Clearstream system. Similarly, stocks or equities or bonds that are traded in overseas exchanges will be able to be brought into the depository system here once the connect is operational. So that is one very, very big benefit which the brokers are going to get, which it's currently not possible in India.
So probably I'll just take a stab at it, because in a quick summary, first, what is there for the brokers, the members? First is they will have to set up a subsidiary entity here. It has to be a different legal person. This legal person gets 10-year tax holiday. There's only a MAT of 9% applicable, so that's a big thing. So if you are doing prop trading and especially derivatives trading, I think it makes a lot of sense to come into this place. And from here you can trade any derivatives across the world and you will still be eligible for the same charge. So lower tax. In terms of investors, non-residents have no capital gains. And if you're also doing prop trading, you become a non-resident if you are established here. So there is zero capital gains. So there is no STT, there is no CTT, there is no capital gain, there is no stamp duty. All your demands, what the ANMI has been doing for the last 15, 20 years, everything is available to you in a platter in the IFSC.
Well said, Bala sir. I was going to say no thing.
The retail investor. The retail investor, basically, again, there is a capital account restriction, and the LRS is the only route which RBI permits, truly for our national considerations. But then $250,000 is a pretty big limit. It is actually meant for HNIs. Okay, so although we call it retail, but it's a HNI product. So HNIs, if they want to actually globally diversify, and they don't want to only look at the universe of Indian stocks, they can also look at buying globally reputed stocks. And that is something which becomes a big, big diversification. And we sometimes we get cross-border diversification, which is something which is there for investors from India. So effectively, there is something for everyone. And another thing which probably we didn't talk much here because from a capital market perspective, but I think there's a big fund management industry which is coming up here. Lots of alternate investment funds are coming in. And those funds actually are allowed to sit here, invest in India, invest in IFSC, invest in the rest of the world. So basically, we are actually creating a ecosystem here where actually we can become a global fund industry which can actually come in here. And that is something which IFSCA is clearly facilitating. So it is not only one side which we are talking about, it is being developed in a very all-round manner. And I'm sure this jurisdiction is going to grow leaps and bounds, and there is sky is the limit. I'm sure all of you can come in and take your own benefits based on what it is. And as you grow, I think you basically start small, but as this place grows, all of you will also grow big with that.
True. And just within
if I may add, this is the year when equity listing is going to take place on the stock exchange in IFSC, as well as listing of units of funds. So, and we as a regulator, we strongly believe that this is a year when the entire product and the liquidity on the stock exchange is going to take off in a big way, very, very big way. Last year, because of the COVID situation, there was certain setbacks for everyone, but this year is pretty clean, so it's going to be the year when the tipping point is going to be breached.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And is there a net worth criteria for the IFSC company or something? Any minimum net worth criteria?
See, the stock.
Yeah.
Go
ahead, please.
Yeah, sir, you can take it. Mr. Varanasi,
you are the regulator. You are the ultimate word.
No, please. See, as per the regulations, you have two different net worth criteria for stockbrokers which are registered with SEBI and coming into IFSC. As per the regulations, it will be specified by the stock exchanges. So both the stock exchanges have the net worth requirements in place. And if a foreign entity is coming as a broker, either through branch mode or through subsidiary mode, then it is a minimum of 135,000 US dollars net worth criteria.
Okay.
So Kamlesh ji, basically the same norms, what is applicable in India, 1 crore, we are converted in dollar terms. So effectively all brokers in India can come here.
Yeah. So that is the point that, net worth is also criteria is not that heavy in terms of someone wants to
participate. They can all come in as trading members, and typically for a clearing member, there's a higher net worth. Exactly how SEBI also has, and I think IFSCA has the same, and that is the global norm. So that is exactly what is followed.
So Kamlesh Shroff, I think all the 900 members can come in.
All can come.
The whole idea, the way we have looked at it is, essentially to ensure that all our members, onshore members, become offshore members also.
True.
And as Bala was mentioning, GIFT is going to really take off. We are on the verge of taking off, as Praveen also just mentioned. This is the year. You guys all have to come now. You have to really come in now to get full benefits of the takeoff which is going to happen in the next few months.
Yeah. And another benefit of coming in quickly is that there is a grandfathering clause wherein if you're already a trading member with the stock exchanges, NSE, IFSC, and INX in IFSC, then you can be onboarded automatically into the Boolean Exchange for trading in physical bullion. Yeah. So just subject to additional capital requirement. That's it. So once all the due diligence is done, you can just come and grandfather yourself into the Boolean Exchange. So there is an added advantage of coming this year very quickly.
Sir, it is so very attractive that I should shift my office to GIFT City.
Absolutely, you are most welcome.
Please, Kamlesh ji, आप अभी पहले कीजिए वो.
No, I am there. See, we are registered at GIFT City, sir. Yeah. We are registered at GIFT City.
Good.
Great.
No, in fact, I think you should actually set up a special cell within ANMI to get the applications and keep pushing them on.
Yes, sir. We are. The process is on, and on 15th, when Prime Minister comes, we'll submit letters of intent from 100 different members.
Yeah. And right. I would also like to state, and I need to say it because if I don't say it, it will be great injustice. Both the stock exchanges have worked extremely hard and round the clock to introduce new products, some of which have already been introduced and a lot of them which are already in the pipeline. They have also worked round the clock to streamline all processes within the stock exchange and clearing corporation. So I need to say this, both the exchanges have worked very, very hard. So, the fruits of that hard work will be realized this year. I'm sure as a regulator.
I would just want to add on that the regulators and the MIs have worked so hard that all other members become truly global.
Right.
True.
Yeah. So I was just asking whether ADRs are also tradable on the GIFT City IFSC exchange.
We already have Dr. Reddy's ADR listed with us. So on NSE IFSC, it's possible. It's allowable. We will continue to expand the portfolio.
I'm sure if there is one, then there is no reason for others also to join in.
Yeah.
But Kamlesh ji, the regulation from IFSCA is very progressive. They allow even a permitted to trade of DRs. They also allow secondary listing. So effectively, we can take any of these DRs and list it. And if there is an interest from anybody, we can straight away do that, not only on Indian names, but even on global names.
And also, I think as getting in is also easy. I'm sure reporting also and compliance also must not be that heavy. I'm sure compliance should be there, but at the same time, requirements in terms of compliances
Reporting requirement for stockbrokers, we have kept it to a bare minimum, So it's a stock exchange which is going to report to us about the stockbrokers. We have not at all done any broker inspection or anything right now because we are in a development mode. So we anticipate all the members to come here, and once the ecosystem is well developed, then we will look at enforcement and regulation and other supervision aspects.
Do we have any minimum subscription amount per investor in case of private placements as in our this thing? If anyone for private placement, is there a minimum amount or any threshold?
So today, typically the bonds which are being raised, these are all being raised by large companies, and these are all normally multi-hundred billion dollar, and some now we are also talking about billions of dollars in a single.
Yes. You said the names Adani's and Reliance.
So Reliance did a $7 billion bond. So typically these kind of players do placements with international banks and arrangers. But now we are also talking to many of the smaller companies, including SMEs, etc. And I'm sure, I think over a period of time, a lot more such offerings will probably will come through. In fact, we are not only talking about Indian companies raising, we are even talking about other regional countries in this region also to come to our market and use this as a thing. In fact, recently NDB has come, they have set up their office here. So there are a lot of development institutions which are actually also helping in terms of the bond and the fundraising platforms to come. I'm sure if there is an ultra high net worth customer and he wants to participate in some private placement round, it's definitely possible for him.
Yeah, and as we go forward, there are multiple new innovations we are looking at. The tokenization possible. I mean, sky is the limit. You come there, we will open up what you want.
Yeah.
Kamlesh bhai, even stockbroker will be able to raise money.
Yes, so I guess this is coming from there. That what is there a minimum threshold? Else, I'm sure none of the big guys would ask for something like this. But sure, I just said, let me toss this idea.
So effectively, like what Praveen also mentioned, the listings will start very soon. The listing regulations which IFSCA has come out is far-reaching. In fact, it has SPAC companies, it has small and medium enterprise segment, it has got startups, fintechs, everything can actually come into the ecosystem. Basically, this is innovation at its best. So anything which has not been done in India also can be done.
I'll take one last question because we're running out of time for sure. I'm not taking this one, advantages of trading global stocks in INX IFSC versus other platforms, because I think you've brought that point out in the presentation itself. But types of companies operating in the commercial building in GIFT City domestic area. A idea of what type of companies are present currently in the GIFT City area is what.
The domestic zone is pretty much similar to any other zone in India. So in the domestic zone, you have, because the overall mandate of GIFT City is the financial and IT services. In the domestic zone, you will find, say, TCS is operating, and you have Oracle, but they are Oracle. Then a lot of other domestic banks are there. They are all doing local rupee business, and the SEZ IFFC is where the offshore business or the non-INR business has been undertaken. So you will find even, in fact, on the domestic side, the BSE Brokers Forum has set up the huge tower of 400,000 square feet, where all the broking firms have set up their domestic offices because the state government has given stamp duty exemption. So there also you will find a lot of stock broking firms operating in that zone.
Yes, I suppose about 100 plus or 120 broking companies are still part of that building.
Yes. I think ANMI should also think on the same line.
So a lot of ANMI, yeah. Kamlesh bhai, would you want to answer on that?
No, I mean, continue. I mean, things are going really well.
Yeah.
No, you could possibly do on the IFSCA side, and then possibly ensure that our brokerages are in one building. There is some building space available there.
Yeah. Just to add, see what is there for in the domestic zone is probably one is smart city infrastructure. Basically a first world kind of infrastructure getting created here. and second is the added incentive of stamp duty rebates. So stamp duty is now another STT effectively. So if you are doing prop trading, you can completely get it off. And if you are doing retail trade for Gujarat customers, then you get even that as a rebate.
So I'm sure, as rightly said, that ANMI will handhold and fast track both domestic and international regulators for setting up membership. So we may have a one-point contact which we will set up as mentioned. And
right, Kamlesh bhai, just one more point here. When you come to ISFC, you get advantage of both domestic as well as the international. So, as Balaji has told, that we get best infra plus stamp duty relief. So that's one point. At the same time, from the same place or same geography, you get exposure to the international trading also. So, both can complement each other and make it, viable for the brokers to come to the GIFT City.
Access to 135 different.
Right. I mean, this is the only place where you can have domestic business also plus international business also.
Yes. And yes, as we target to do 50 to 100 LOIs, hopefully we should be able to, so that we can.
And you also have a walk to work here. So you have a school inside, you have a club inside, residential inside. So in a way, it's a walk to work. I think a lot of people are finding it from that perspective very useful, because then you are out within the zone, everything is available.
So Kamlesh ji, my suggestion would be you may ask your members to start filling in the application forms and so start submitting the same to the exchange membership division so that we can onboard you as fast as possible, all your members.
Right, sir. I have already announced to the members that your application would be fast tracked. So they will have additional advantage, and they can, get advantage of all these launches that, we have pipelined as quickly as possible.
Right.
Praveen has given 24 hours. अभी उससे fast क्या करवाएंगे आप?
नहीं सर, वो तो सर आपको तो कोई मैच ही नहीं कर पाएगा. 24 आवर्स तो कई मैच ही नहीं कर पाएंगे, बट ब्रोकर्स को बहुत सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स कलेक्ट करने पड़ते हैं, उनको भी काफी प्रोसेस से जाना पड़ेगा. तो from that angle I was trying to tell that we will help out to each and every member with detailed explanation, and we will see that they are onboarded as quickly as possible.
Correct. And as we discussed with the ANMI, we are planning that if this letter of intent comes in, we are planning that if this can be highlighted at the high level event which is being planned, whether this can be announced during that time that such institutions are coming forward under the ANMI umbrella, and the community can be brought in during that high level event.
Right, sir. Here I would like to make one more announcement. As a follow-up of the visit of Prime Minister on 15th, we have organized a small convention, a mini convention on 6th of August, to see that, all that discussion converts into the opportunity for the members.
Good.
So Kamlesh bhai and Kamlesh Shah, both, one thing which one suggestion which I have is,
yes,
just like how the Dalal Street building has been created on the domestic side, on the international side, probably one floor place can be taken. The ANMI can actually take the lead, create cubicles with workstations plugged into the exchange infrastructure, and basically members can get a ready plug and play. So effectively, ANMI can become the WeWork of GIFT IFSC.
Absolutely.
Good suggestion.
Very good.
No, I mean, I thought, we'll be using exchange premises till we have our own office.
So unfortunately, the regulator wants that distance, the right Chinese wall between the exchange and the member. I'm sure ANMI association can do that.
Sir, message is well taken. Your message is well taken, sir.
In fact, Boolean side, they're already trying to do that. Boolean, some of the dealers are actually...
No, this is really good. In fact, at BSE, the trading started with cubicles only.
True, I absolutely endorse that. And do we have any other questions or Okay. So I think no program is complete without gratitude to all who have made it possible in today's webinar, including the panel and the members, the esteemed panel, all the members joining in large numbers. Let me now invite Mr. Nirav Gandhi, Director ANMI, for a formal vote of thanks. Over to you, Nirav bhai.
You're on mute.
Yeah, Bala, thanks. Yeah, thank you, Kamlesh. It is an interesting discussion. Okay, we exceeded the time, but it was tremendous knowledge sharing and about all the products which we have. We have a distinguished panel comprising of Mr. Praveen, Kamat, Ravi, Varanasi, and V. Balasubramaniam. And of course, the keynote speaker, Mr. Dipesh, Shah, is the Executive Director Developer in IFSCA. And we thank the ANMI Secretariat for conducting this wonderful program. And thank you, Kamlesh bhai and Kamlesh Shroff, Kamlesh Shroff for moderating the entire session, and our President ANMI, Kamlesh Shah, for initiating this wonderful program. Thank you once again, all members who participated, and we look forward to the letter of intent as well as the roadshow which we are planning to have. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All a good weekend. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kamat. Thank you. Thank you, Bala.